Relationship. We're going to talk about how you understand, how you find out about another culture. We can get this thing going. There we go. A practitioner should begin a professional relationship by determining how they will present themselves and how they will behave. It is important for the practitioner to set aside their personal feelings and concerns in order to fully focus on their client. It is important that a practitioner accepts and understands the client's beliefs, their perceptions, their stereotypes, their biases, their prejudices, and their life experiences. The core interpersonal qualities that a practitioner brings to a relationship include warmth, respect, genuineness, empathy, and acceptance. Trust can be developed by being understanding or empathetic, listening attentively, and showing respect. Warmth, being kind and accepting in a non-judgmental way. Expression of warmth in one culture may be perceived differently in another culture. Cheek touching is commonly used to show warmth in many cultures around the world, but not among the Navajo. Empathy is the ability to understand another person's emotions, feelings, thoughts, and behavior from that person's viewpoint. As we attune to another person's internal state, a feeling of being connected develops. Being empathic involves having the willingness and flexibility to put yourself in the other person's reality. Empathy is understanding assumptions, beliefs, and/or worldview. Empathy requires understanding another person's subjective experience while maintaining the capacity to differentiate from that person. Empathy is not the same as pity or sympathy. Pity involves sorrow or grief aroused by someone else's suffering. Sympathy involves feeling affected by whatever affected the other person. Respect or unconditional positive regard is expressed by affirming and appreciating clients without condoning their harmful behaviors. Looking for the good, regard for thoughts, feelings, and abilities, noticing, acknowledging, and highlighting clients' strengths, capabilities, resilience, coping ability, potential, and resources, being polite and following appropriate cultural norms. Genuineness, being sincere and authentic, being real and allowing your humanness and uniqueness to be seen, being natural, honest, and forthright, admitting mistakes. Offering advice, it is inappropriate to offer advice until you have fully understood the people involved, their challenges and situation, and collaborated with the clients on setting goals. Offering advice before you know what the clients have already tried can be experienced as not respecting their strengths and capacities. Reassuring, in an attempt to reduce pain. The pain clients feel about their problem can motivate them to solve the problem. Negating the importance of the client's pain can lead them to feel that they are not fully understood or respected. For example, telling someone, "It will all work out in the end. Don't worry about it," indicates the capacity to stop worrying on command. These are common mistakes. So one common mistake is offering advice too early. Another one is trying to reassure them without understanding what they're going through. Another common mistake, offering excuses, help clients set goals, asking leading questions, questions that give advice, dominating through teaching. Teaching is dominating or pushy. It can suggest one right way, and there may be many, many right ways. Communicating in a dominating way tends to invite people to feel shamed or rebellious and to withdraw or become defensive and argue. It implies there is only one way to resolve an issue. And this is a really common problem that people have. They think that there's only one way to solve a problem. But the reality is, no matter what the situation, that normally there's any number of correct ways that will solve the problem. The problem is coming up with the best way to solve a problem. but that doesn't mean that it's the only way to solve a problem. Labeling, a sophisticated way to judge, criticize, or blame another person and is not helpful. Interrogating why questions are particularly problematic because they sometimes imply judgment and also invite defensiveness. Developing your ability to be empathic, reading novels. So how do you develop your core interpersonal qualities? How do you develop your ability to be empathic? Reading novels and professional literature about people from different backgrounds, joining in activities, talking to and getting to know others who have different experiences, attending classes or workshops focused on specific groups of people, traveling to different countries and spending time with local residents, doing volunteer work in communities or neighborhoods very different from your own, watching popular movies about people who are different from you. These are all good ways to accumulate knowledge about other individuals. You can't assume that everybody's like you. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that think everybody's the same, and that's just not true. People have different ideas, people have different goals, and cultures dictate how people are going to be. So now we're going to talk about some of the movies that you might watch. I know we live in a Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu society. So let's talk about some of the movies that you might watch to get an idea about how other people think. Real Women Have Curves is a second-hand generation Mexican American, about a second generation Mexican American girl. One of the interesting things about Hispanics, and this is a generalization certainly, but I was reading another article about women from Puerto Rico, and it was about exactly the same thing. The fact that in order to look good in that culture, you need to look voluptuous. In other words, you need to have curves. So it doesn't matter. They're not looking for stick people. That they don't see that as attractive, but they see women who are full-figured or have curves. That's what they're looking for as attractive. Hoop Dreams is about an inner city African American boy wanting to play basketball, trying to make it in basketball. It's a way out of the negative neighborhood that he may potentially live in, and that's about Chicago, I think. Hoop Dreams. Mystic River is about an inner city white boy who is sexually abused. Girl Interrupted, you may have seen this movie. It's got Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie in their first movie. It's about a white teenage girl who is mentally ill. And it's also about suicide. American History X is about a white boy in a neo-Nazi group. Bend It Like Beckham is about a second-generation Indian girl living in London, and when we say India, we're talking about Asian Indians. It is Keira Knightley's first starring role. It's really a good movie. It's fun. It's a real fun movie. I Am Sam is a movie about people with developmental disabilities. Stars Sean Penn. Radio is about people with developmental disabilities. Cuba Gooding Jr. is the African American gentleman that has a problem, and he's living in the South. He has developmental problems. My Family is about a Mexican American family living in Los Angeles. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? A white rural family dealing with issues related to poverty, autism, obesity, depression, and suicide. And it's one of Johnny Depp's first starring roles. Soul Food is about an African American family facing serious illness and death. Sleeping with the Enemy is about women struggling with partners who are physically abusive. It stars Julia Roberts. Tina, what's love got to do with it? It's about women struggling with partners who are physically abusive. Tina Turner and Ike Turner was physically abusive until she left him. The Notebook is about people facing challenges related to aging. On Golden Pond, people facing challenges related to aging. This is Henry Fonda's last movie. I think it was his last movie. It may have been Katharine Hepburn's last movie as well. Driving Miss Daisy is about people facing challenges related to aging. Iris is about people facing challenges related to aging. She's a Jewish lady in New York City. 28 Days stars Sandra Bullock. It's about women with drug and alcohol problems. Losing Isaiah is about women with drug and alcohol problems, and the person with drug and alcohol problems is Halle Berry, who loses her son, and then the son, Isaiah, is adopted by Jessica Lange, and it's about Halle Berry trying to get Isaiah back. When a Man Loves a Woman stars Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan. It's about a woman with drug and alcohol problems, that is Meg Ryan, and how when somebody, it's about how alcoholism can become normalized, and how when it is gone, that sometimes it forces people to move away from each other because they've changed. Gracie's Choice is about women with drug and alcohol problems. Boys Don't Cry is about people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. It's one of Hilary Swank's Oscar-winning performances. Boys on the Side is about people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. Philadelphia is about people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. Tom Hanks, this is one of his Academy Award-winning performances. He plays a man who is suffering from AIDS and has lost his job, and Denzel Washington is his lawyer and sues the company to get his job back. Anyway, Antonio Banderas is the boyfriend of Tom Hanks in this movie. Brokeback Mountain is about people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. It has Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal are lovers and cowboys. It's really kind of a curious movie. The Crying Game is about people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. It's a pretty old movie, but yeah, it's a really fascinating book. It's a real fascinating movie. Desert Hearts, people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. I actually have never seen this movie. Longtime Companion, people dealing with issues related to discrimination and sexual orientation. All of these movies are about the LGBTQ community, the ones dealing with discrimination and sexual orientation, starting with Boys Don't Cry, Boys on the Side, Longtime Companion. Milk, starring Sean Penn as Harvey Milk. It's about people dealing with issues related to discrimination, sexual orientation. Harvey Milk was the first openly gay politician in San Francisco to win public office. He was He was murdered along with the mayor by an individual who claimed that he went insane or he was having erratic episodes because of uh, he ate too many Twinkies. That was his argument. Anyway, it's a true story. Harvey Milk and the mayor of San Francisco, and I don't remember what his name was, but they were both murdered by this individual. And then he claimed that it was the Twinkies that did it. As Good as It Gets is about a white man who's dealing with obsessive compulsive disorder. Excuse me. A Beautiful Mind stars Russell Crowe. It's about a white man who has schizophrenia. Children of a Lesser God is about a white woman who is deaf, and that's Marlee Matlin, who is actually deaf. Also stars William Hurt. He just died a couple of weeks ago. My Left Foot stars Daniel Day-Lewis. He won the Academy Award for this film. It's about a man with cerebral palsy. The Green Mile is about men in prison. Dead Men Walking stars Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn. Sean Penn is on death row, and Susan Sarandon is trying to ease his way as his time approaches toward his execution. She is a nun, if I remember the movie correctly. I've only seen it once, and that was a while back. Anyway, it's a fairly good movie. It's a film by Tim Robbins, and Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon, of course, were husband and wife at that time. I think they've divorced by this time. The Shawshank Redemption is about men in prison. There's Tim Robbins again. The Saint of Fort Washington is about people who are homeless. Monsters Ball is a really strange movie. The struggles of a single African-American mother. Stars Heath Ledger, Billy Bob Thornton, and Halle Berry. Heath Ledger. Okay. Anyway, really interesting movie. Really interesting movie. It's also about discrimination. There's a lot. It's about a southern prison. Really fascinating. The Soloist with Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr. It's about an African-American man who is homeless, has schizophrenia, but he is a talented cello player. The Joy Luck Club is about a second-generation Asian-American woman. Eat, Drink, Man, Woman is about the challenges in a Taiwanese family. So if you want to know about Taiwan, about China, about the island that is China, this is a good movie. Amrika is about a divorced Palestinian woman and her son. Rhapsody in August is about a Japanese children who visit their grandmother who lived through the bombing of Nagasaki. Stand and Deliver, a teacher in the low-income Hispanic neighborhood. Four Little Girls is about the challenges African Americans have faced. Four Little Girls, there was a bombing of a black church in Birmingham, Alabama, and 4 little girls were killed. Do the Right Thing is about challenges African Americans have faced. It's a Spike Lee movie. Ghosts of Mississippi, challenges African Americans have faced. This is about the civil rights movement in Mississippi. The Long Walk Home, challenges African Americans have faced. This is about the bus strike in Birmingham. And it stars Sissy Spacek and Whoopi Goldberg. The Celebration is about an upper middle class Danish multi-generational family dealing with incest and violence. And I've never actually seen this movie. Yesterday is about rural African American family. Both parents are HIV positive. Tuesdays with Maury is about a white man diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. Rain Man is about a white man diagnosed as an autistic savant. That would be Dustin Hoffman. Does an amazing job. Lars and the Real Girl is about a white man dealing with a mental illness, and it stars Goslin. I can't think of his first name. Cyrus is about a middle-aged white mother who has devoted her life to her 21-year-old son. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly is about a man adapting to being mute and paralyzed. Pieces of April is about a white middle-class family, oldest daughter estranged from family, mother ill and dying, and aging grandparents. That's Katie Holmes. This is the daughter right here. Precious, award-winning movie, was the movie of the year. African-American teenager living on welfare, pregnant as a result of incest. The Namesake is about a first-generation Indian man. Really fascinating movie. I didn't realize what I was getting into when I first started watching this movie, but it's really fascinating. It talks about, it shows you what, how living in India is so much different from living in the United States for an Indian family, and how going back home you have to adhere to the rules and the ideas of India. You know, how you balance both cultures is really fascinating. City Island is about a white blue-collar family dealing with a grown son recently released from prison. As It Is in Heaven is about a white Swedish community with issues related to the impact of bullying on a child and domestic violence. And of course, bullying is a really serious problem in Scandinavia, in the Scandinavian countries. For children, they call it swarming. Winter's Bone is about a poor white Appalachian family, father missing and mother mentally ill. Goodnight, Mr. Tom is about a white British family, single, mentally ill mother, neglect and abuse of her children. Children of Heaven is about a poor Iranian family struggling to manage. American Beauty is about a family facing challenges. Lost in Translation, challenges faced by white adults, and this is in Japan, and how trying to balance living in Japan and not being Japanese. It's really kind of fascinating. I've lived in Japan. You really don't understand how you are openly rejected until you live in that kind of a society where nobody looks like you. It's really kind of fascinating. This also stars Scarlett Johansson. Up in the Air is about challenges faced by white adults. Of course, it also stars George Clooney. Life as a House is about challenges faced by white adults. I've never actually seen this movie. $1 Million Baby, another one of Hilary Swank's award-winning movies. It's about challenges faced by white adults. It has Clint Eastwood and Hilary Swank. Clint Eastwood is her manager. Hilary Swank is the boxer, and Morgan Freeman is the person that runs the gym. Edward Scissorhands. This always I got to take this one out of here. I don't know. This movie drives me crazy. I don't quite understand why. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. Challenges faced by white adults. I'm not exactly sure why. Johnny Depp is Edward Scissorhands, of course. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. This is one of Jim Carrey's serious roles. It's about challenges faced by white adults. Powwow Highway is about an American Indian adult seeking understanding on a road trip to rescue a relative. It looks like it's in the Southwest. I've never actually seen it. Smoke Signals, this is one I've seen. American Indian teenagers from Washington State seek understanding on a road trip to find their father, and their father is on the Navajo reservation. And he has died, and they have gone back to. I'm not sure why they've gone back to get his ashes. I guess. I can't remember. Skins is about American Indian adults battling greed and displacement in Sioux country. Songs My Brother Taught Me is about American Indians dealing with life on the reservation. Wind River is about American Indians battling modern life on the reservation. In this case, it's a murder story. This one stars Jeremy Renner. It's really kind of interesting, and Elizabeth Olsen is the FBI agent. But Renner is a game warden, I guess. But he's the guy that just got crushed under a snowplow, trying to save his nephew. He's also Green Arrow, I think. Anyway, it's a really good movie. Wind River, of course, is the Arapaho reservation in Wyoming. Shouting Secrets is about an American Indian dealing with success and failure. And this one actually takes place on one of the. I've never seen this movie. It takes place on the one of the Apache reservations. I'm not sure which one. The importance of Basketball or Nothing. This is actually a television series. It's about the importance of basketball on today's reservation. This has to do with the Chinle basketball team in 2019. They follow the Chinle basketball team. Reservation Dogs is another television series rather than a movie. It's about modern reservation life. It's about modern reservation life in Oklahoma, which is I find kind of interesting because there aren't that many reservations in Oklahoma. But there are a lot of American Indians in Oklahoma. There are tribal lands. I lived in Oklahoma for 4 years. I lived in Choctaw and worked in Chandler. And right beside Chandler was the Sac and Fox tribal lands. As curious as that is, and that's where Jim Thorpe was from. And that is the end of that's the end of the lecture. We'll tackle chapter 6, at least chapter 6 next week. So talk to you later.